welcome to our first ever segment episode, trial run, pilot, whatever you want to call it. Welcome, everybody. Um, my name is Crystal. Probably most of you know that. Maybe some of you don't. And this is my lovely co-host, Emerson.
Hi.
Sorry about all the throat clearing too, by the way. Apparently that's a thing for me nowadays. So I'm sure a lot of you have lots of questions about, what this is, what we're doing, right? Because to be honest, I don't even really think we know what we're doing. But we're trying. We're getting out there. We, at the end of the day, the main goal here is to inspire, uplift, motivate, encourage. I think it's just something that will need to be seen in action. We could talk all day about what we want to say and do and accomplish, but anyway, Emerson, you can go ahead and just introduce yourself really quickly.
So my name is Emerson. I was born here in Virginia, I was raised in Massachusetts, moved back down here when I was about 14. I work part-time as a secretary while going to nursing school full-time. Pretty much it about me.
And you're fucking badass, so let's not leave that out. That's the most important detail. Okay. So why don't you tell our listeners how you feel about what we're doing here or what you think about it?
So when Crystal proposed this idea to me, I felt like it was something that we had to do. We had to tell our stories and let the world know, a lot of people are going through what we're going through in the world, and they're not alone. And it's really important just for people to know that. And I want to start this recording over.
No, you are good. So yes. So we're going to run with it. We're going to roll with it because you know what? The stuff that we're going to be talking about here is not easy. And it's not even easy to admit that we used to be the kind of people who wouldn't even want to record ourselves talking, let alone what we look like, what exposing ourselves to people like that. I mean, I died before at the thought of somebody recording me doing something or whatever. That's dumb. Who cares? Who cares what you sound like? Who cares what you look like? You look fine. You sound fine. We all look and sound fine. That's it. And see, another throat clearing. We're gonna have to let people know that it's okay to be human. It's okay to be just who you are. And if people don't like it, they can tune out right now. Bye. So anyway, this is about growth. This is about showing other people that it's possible to have growth, to change, to learn, and all of those things should never stop. Those things should be continuous. Those things should be infinite. So I'm sure, like I said before, people have questions. People are wondering, who are you and I to each other? Well, we actually know each other and met each other through a mutual ex, which is funny because I know society teaches us and our family really, to be haters, right? That's my new favorite word, I think, hater, because it really is that simple. We have people in our lives that condition us to be haters. We have people in our lives that condition us to feel like if somebody has it better than we do, then either screw them because they're luckier than I am, or they've got to have something wrong with them. Okay, and what if both of those things are true? What if they are luckier than you, and what if they have a past? What if they have been through some stuff? Okay, and you haven't? We all have. So this is not two women coming together because we're the bitter exes or because we want to talk about him or bash anyone. We're not bashing anybody here. We're just being adults and telling the truth because we're not kids. We don't have to live our lives trying to please the people around us. And really, when we were kids, we shouldn't have had to live like that either. We should have been able to be ourselves. We should have been nurtured and encouraged. And not that, some of us were those things too, right? We had a little bit of that, but it was maybe from like a grandparent or an aunt that was super kind that you would like go spend the weekends with and you loved going over there and you wanted to be there all the time, but you couldn't because your parents were lame. Like you are who you are because you did have good influences. You did have, whoever it was that was raising you had good intentions, but we go through trauma, we go through heartbreak, we experience things much sooner than we should. We have to learn things much sooner than we should. And that goes for anyone. So most importantly, we want people to take away from this that we promote love and light and happiness and joy and whatever other positive adjective you can think of, but the main one being forgiveness, because literally what else is there? You forgive yourself, you forgive. I'm rambling. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, so the goal of this podcast is validation, honestly, in my mind. We are always brushed off, or at least most of the time brushed off as crazy and dramatic. And after talking to you about some of the things I went through, you kind of gave me validation, and I realized that I wasn't crazy and that the things I went through were completely real and true, and it sucks, but I went through them and it's not my fault, and I have to remember that. And I want people to also remember that the things that they go through, usually at least, aren't their fault, and it's no one's fault but the person that, put these horrible things in your mind.
Right. We have to collectively decide to put a stop to all of these cycles, to all of these ways that, people say things like, oh, well, back in my day, people weren't like this. Society wasn't like this. Like the man worked and the woman kept the house and, nobody complained. Okay. You know why? Because y'all hadn't woken up yet, and it clearly still haven't. So sorry for you. It is okay to think differently than somebody else. It's okay to have your own set of morals, your own moral compass. I mean, as long as you're not hurting people purposefully or, being, or, I mean, you know what I mean though? Like 100%. You just do your best to fight your natural urges. That they're called natural urges for a reason, because they are natural and they are urges and we cannot control them. It takes active participation in your own life to say, I'm not going to be that way that I really want to be. When I go to work and someone makes me mad and I want to punch them in the face, I can't do that because I got kids to feed and I got a house and I got responsibilities. I can't just go around punching everybody in the face that's in the house. I wish I could.
I make a lot.
I know you wish you could.
Here. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, got some names I want to. Yeah.
I think I speak for both of us when I say this. I know I do because you're like me and I'm like you. If we encouraged one person watching, just one, I'd be probably able to sleep a little better at night than I currently do. So, I think that's what this is about.
The goal is to help people and to realize, if people are in a bad situation like we were, to leave. Hopefully they're able to leave and get out,
or at least start
easy, and that what they're going through is real.
At least plant the seed that it's possible.
Yeah.
If there's someone listening to this right now that decided to give it a shot, see what these crazy girls are talking about. What are they talking about? Let's see. If they're listening right now and I say something or you say something or we collectively say something that encourages them to feel even just a little bit empowered to say, I'm not going to live life like this anymore. Whether it's their husband, their mother, their brother, their whomever in their life that is soul sucking them,
Yeah.
they will have the courage to say, you know what? I don't need this. I can do better. I wish you would do better with me, but you're not going to, so I have to leave.
Pretty much.
And love you from a distance and or cut you out completely, whatever level it's at.
Yep.
You know, the main thing it being acknowledging trauma, you know, acknowledging that we literally all experience it to some degree, because guess what? The world is not always kind, and the world is full of hate and evil and whatever, right? But it starts with you and it starts with us. Like, we collectively have to make that decision to say no. Like, there is a time and a place to tap into your anger, to tap into your unkindness, to tap into your indifference, right? There's a time and a place for that.
Yeah.
But you know where there's the best time and the best place for the good stuff? All the time. It's always a good time, and it's always a good place to be good, to do good. And I don't know. I just want people to stop hating themselves. I want people to stop feeling like they're not allowed to say, you know what, you did this and it hurt me. And I'm not attacking you. I'm simply telling you how I feel. I'm not against you. I'm not out to get you. I'm not out to expose you. I'm literally just telling you one human being to another. And that's such a hard concept for people to get. So, you know, I am rambling once again. So I'm going to do my little introduction now, because Emerson, you know, kind of did hers, and I guess I should do one too. So my name is Crystal. I said that in the beginning. I am born and raised in Austin, Texas. I've lived in like surrounding areas of Austin, like lived in San Marcos for a little while and grew up there for a little bit. And then after high school, lived in San Antonio. I've lived in different places, but this is always home. This will always be home. And we sure as hell missed it over the last 9 months or so, give or take. So me and Mike, I have two kids, two boys. They are 9 and 7. They've grown up so much, it's insane. They're the best, like, little humans I know. I mean, all kids are, but you know, you're kind of biased to your own sometimes. So, yeah, I guess that's basically it. I'm about to start a part-time job, making very little money, because in order to get the housing that me and my children need, I'm not allowed to make the money that I could normally make. But if I make the money I normally would make, I wouldn't make 3 times the rent in Austin, because Austin's rent is astronomical. So yeah, we're gonna start with the part-time stuff and see what happens. And that's basically it. Do you want to take over, because I'm talking a lot?
Sure. I'm trying to think of what to say. Gosh, I don't even know.
I think that the main thing, you know, to remember is that, you know, like you've said before, when you and I started talking about our shared experiences with this individual,
Yeah.
you know, you do start, I mean, it does give you that validation that you're not crazy, you know?
Well, you know, they put into your mind, you know, that you are crazy. It's like, you know, they start an argument because, you know, you catch them talking to another girl. So you're like, hey, don't do that, please. That's, you know, doesn't make me really feel good. They start yelling at you and cussing you out because of what they did. So validation is really, really important. I mean, for years, I thought I was mentally insane, going crazy because I was told I was crazy for years. And
because you were being provoked and you reacted, and how dare you react? How dare you have emotions? They're allowed to have emotions. Big
we're
emotions,
not allowed to.
Yes, you can't say anything, Emerson. I mean, come on. Did you not know that?
Oh, how stupid was I to think that I could talk about my feelings and my opinions and how this person makes me feel? Stupid of me.
I know. They are the most important. We have to remember this.
Of course.
But yeah, no, I mean, it like that, you saying that reminded me, and I wasn't gonna like quite start going into story time, but I think this story bears mentioning. So you said, an example was you find them talking to another person, whether it's a man, you're a straight female, you're in a relationship with a male, you catch him talking to a female, you express that you don't really appreciate that because it feels disrespectful to you. And same goes for men. They're in a relationship with a woman, she's talking to another man behind his back, he expresses, she goes off.
Yeah.
When is that? Like, I don't I mean, I literally don't have words because it's so, the concept that you can't approach somebody from an honest, loving place and say, hey, I don't like that you're doing this. Can you please stop? And their first initial reaction is to get defensive and then say mean things to you completely unprovoked because literally all you did was say, I don't really like that. Can you please not do that?
Yeah. But the whole thing is I guess usually or all the time, they're raised that way. They're raised with their mother.
And we'll get into that too.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I don't mean to interrupt you.
Reason.
Yeah. It's that's really what all this is about. That's what I think you and I both can agree on. It really comes down to, for those of you listening who are parents, you have children, you have, people you are responsible for helping mold, and you need to take that shit seriously. Like, you just do. If you are lucky enough to at least have somewhat of a decent setup in your life, like you're not homeless, you didn't lose your kids to the system because you went too far down into that deep hole and now you're trying to claw your way back out. Like, if you still have your kids literally with you, then do right by them. And if you don't have them literally with you, get them back. Clean yourself up. Start making better choices. It's going to be a process. It's not going to be overnight. You're good. All of a sudden you're doing the most and you're living this best life. No, you have to work for it.
Definitely.
But that goes for even people who do not have children. So,
yeah. Sometimes.
I think the other thing we want to make sure people realize is that we are not here trying to diagnose anyone. We are not here trying to act like we have degrees in psychology or mental health or any of that, because we don't. But I will say we have degrees in our own mental health.
Yes.
People say they went to the school of hard knocks for a reason. Well, that's life. That's called life, AKA your life.
Yep.
And when you become an adult, that is when you have the power to say, I'm not going to live like that. Whatever that means for you. Were you abused by a parent or a caregiver? Were you abused by a family member or a friend of the family? And when I say abused, I'm talking about literally any kind of abuse. It doesn't matter. We don't discriminate against different kinds of abuse because it's all the same at the end of the day.
Yeah. People think that emotional abuse, mental abuse isn't abuse sometimes.
Or as bad, right? It's not as bad.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to say that either is, one is better than the other, obviously, because it's all horrible. But I will tell you that bones can heal, and it's a lot harder to heal your brain
and your heart. And you know what? It's like when we were talking the other day, and I told you, like, it pisses me off when people say things like, "Oh, well, they're kids; they'll bounce back, or they can handle it. They'll be fine." You know what? Yeah, they will be fine if they break a bone, like you said. Yeah. If they physically. Because that's the thing. When a child is abused physically, do you know what they remember? They remember how you made them feel in their head, in their heart. They remember the feelings that they were forced to acknowledge.
Yeah.
Because you made them acknowledge them. You highlighted them. You highlighted the darkness, if that makes sense. Yeah. So So then when people grow up into adults and they try to be well adjusted and make good choices, and they have to fight not only, like I said, natural urges that we just already have within us, but then those natural urges were polished and made to shine through, and then people are expected to like still have to figure out how to fight them when no one showed them the proper way to do that.
Yeah.
So, I want to move on from this because again, I can go on for days. And I want to say that, like you and I talked about too, there will be trigger warnings when we start to really get into like the heavier stuff, the stuff that's really going to be hard for some people to have to hear because either it hits too close to home or it's just literally too hard to hear. But, and again, really, that's not even the purpose of this is not to sit here and just tell sad stories I say stories, tell sad truths. That's not, but it has to be said, like we've talked about. So,
yeah.
I think, it's like, since my kids and I have been back home in Texas, and it's like the only way I can describe it is, like I said, that epiphany moment where you just feel like you finally get it. Like you know that you're still imperfect. You know that you're still going to struggle. You're still going to be tempted. You're still going to be, a little bit messed up in the head because there's just really no way to completely make it heal.
Yeah.
And life is a journey. So you continue to just do your best and be open to learning and be open to hearing and be open to forgiving and keep going. So you're in nursing school. Like that's a huge accomplishment. That's a huge thing to, to beat, the odds, because a lot of people just let life, break them down too far, and they either haven't gotten to that point yet where they have that epiphany and they're like, oh shoot, I actually can do better than this.
Yeah.
Thank you
for saying that, by the way. I don't hear that very often.
No, you should be super proud of yourself. And anyone that's listening right now should be super proud of themselves, even if it's not nursing school necessarily, even if it's just that you literally got yourself or removed a toxic person from your life, or you're on the verge of doing so. Yeah. Because even that is a huge accomplishment, because it is hard as hell to let go of people we think we're obligated to.
Yeah.
To people that have convinced us we have to have this codependency. Otherwise, how do we function? Well, you know what, boo-boo, you're going to have to figure it out on your own. And I'm going to go figure it out on my own. And maybe one day, if we both do what we got to do, we can come back together. We can join forces to, again.
Yeah.
But until then,
a lot of these people need severe mental help. They were most likely raised in a really crappy situation, so they don't know anything other than what they were, how they were raised.
Yeah.
And it sucks because they don't know how to express themselves, and they don't know how to go through or deal with what they're going through.
The most heartbreaking, and I speak for myself, and maybe I'm speaking for other people that are listening, the most heartbreaking aspect to all of this, to this whole narcissist thing, this whole like escaping from a narcissist thing, is the fact that you fall in love with these people because on so many levels, in fact, on the majority of the levels, you can relate to them. They can relate to you. You have fun together. You laugh together. You want to go on adventures together. You want to enjoy the best things in life, right? But you're here and you're struggling to let go of your trauma, but you're trying. And then you think the other person is doing the same, right? You know they have trauma too. And they're telling you, I'm working on my trauma too. Or I want to. Okay. So you trust that they're actually doing that.
Yeah.
But the whole time they're literally not.
They're doing the same stuff over and over again.
They can't break free. I want everyone to break free. You know?
I think we want to fix a lot of people, and we have to learn that we really can't do that. That's not our job. We can't fix people.
I can't literally fix you, but I can tell you that if we step away from each other and we realize that if I was a stranger to you, if you heard me saying what I'm saying right now, and you didn't know who I was, you didn't know the deepest, darkest secrets that I held inside of me, you didn't know that I've made mistakes, that I am imperfect. You just see me and you're like, she's so inspiring. She's so, I don't know how she's keeping herself together after what she's been through. And, yada, yada, yada. You see these girls on TikTok that are beautiful and they look like fun and they're laughing and they're dancing. Do you know why they're doing that? Most likely because they stepped into the light. They are allowing themselves, and I'm not just talking about women on TikTok, men. I'm talking about anybody on this planet, on planet Earth. You see them having fun. You see them laughing, whatever. It's because maybe, just maybe, they pulled themselves into the light. They crawled and scraped and bled to get out of the hole they were in. And now you idolize them or you look up to them but what if you knew them? What if you knew their deep, dark secrets? What if you knew what they had done in their past? Would you still feel the same? You should. Why don't we? Why don't we? Why do we get into these friendships, relationships, whatever, and then hate each other? For what? I'm not going to live like that, and you're not, and nobody else should. Period.
I agree 100%.
I'm going to wrap it up now because I am looking at the time and I'm realizing we're getting close to the 30-minute limit we set for ourselves. So there's 3 things that I want to say before we end it. And this is for anyone who has listened and kept listening to this point. I'm speaking for you and I because I think I know a little bit more about you to be able to do so. The 3 main objectives for this whole thing is we will try to make you laugh. Hopefully that comes through. We might make you cry. I know that I will be crying probably a lot. I'm going to try not to, but can't promise anything. And then the third thing is, hopefully we will make people think, we'll make people actually stop and say, you know what, maybe I should be open to what someone else thinks. Or maybe, I should be more confident in speaking up about how I truly feel. Maybe when I hear someone being a hater, I will be willing to step in and say, you really don't have to be that way. Like, you really don't.
Yeah.
Because you just never know what someone's been through. You never know what someone's currently going through. And really, it's not even our job to really know. It's just our job to be good. If you walk around in your life just assuming everyone's a liar, everyone's out to get you, everyone's this, that, you're never going to have true connection. You're never going to have true anything.
Yeah.
But it's hard to trust when, you should find yourself in situations we have found ourselves in. So, yeah. I will end it by saying thank you to you, Emerson, for just deciding to vibe with me on this.
Thank you for letting me do this with you. This is something that I wanted to do for a while, but I never had the courage really to do it. So I appreciate you.
What I'm saying, I too felt like I couldn't be courageous. I felt like I couldn't put myself out there because what if people say mean things? What if they do?
Yeah.
Let them say mean things because they don't have to live your life. And guess what? You don't have to live theirs.
Yeah.
But, you know, it'd be really, really fucking cool if somebody was like, hey, let's join forces. Let's be amazing together.
Yeah.
You know? And then you're left to wonder, you know, it is a thing. You know, those people are out there because you see your friends and your family have those things. So it's just a matter of we keep the faith and we keep being better than we were yesterday. So
That's all we can do.
All you can do. So we will be back next week with another episode, segment, whatever, and broadcast. I don't know what you call a podcast.
Podcast, episode, segment, YouTube video, Facebook video.
Whatever you want, right? And thank you to whomever decided to actually, you know, click on our link that we're going to share here soon and give us a listen. So, alrighty. Well, I will talk to you next time.
Bye.